I want to move on to something. TikTok.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire.
So here's our next order of business. TikTok, as you know, it's this on again, off again, on again, off again. We don't know what's going to happen, but if you remember very clearly, what date was it? I can't remember the date. Was it January 30th?
The 20th, the 19th. It was the 19th,
right? Because
it was the 19th.
It was the day before MLK Day. So January 19th, it went dark for 14 hours, but then it came back. So people were overjoyed and having Junkanoo in the streets because it came back. But let's be clear, again, this is a business and we won't go into the political end of it, but this is a business. And so if they're trying to stay in business and stay on the right side of the administration, they're going to do whatever. So where does that leave you? It leaves you with TikTok should not be your only option. And some people were really upset. So here we go again. This is the same thing as we're talking about with the being in Target or whatever. For some people, that is their only option. So for some people, TikTok was their entire business strategy. TikTok shop. I do my lives on TikTok. I do short form video on TikTok. That was all they do. Okay. They were TikToked down. So then when they said there was a serious, now again, I am not trying to be mean about this at all. I'm not disparaging the people who have a TikTok strategy, but that was your only strategy. So what did you think would happen when that, we all hate when we have cosmetics and things. For some reason, the things I like always, we're discontinuing it. But am I going to sit there and not use moisturizer because this is discontinued? Or am I going to have a plan B of what works so that I can continue my moisturization regime?
You make the necessary adjustment. I'm about not making excuses, but we make the necessary adjustment. Mm-hmm. And I understand, right, for a lot of people, because they, if you saw reports, it was really where it really affected their households.
Yeah.
Really, it affected their households, even with just the fear. And mind you, it wasn't even for 24 hours. And I still have my own thoughts on that too. I believe they turned the lights off while they were making other business deals.
Yeah.
So, it was about making the business deals. It was wow, look, to me, when you think about a juggler and you see balls going up in the air, mm-hmm. They wanted us to be watching this ball while other stuff was still happening. So that, to me, that's part of what I believe was going on as well. Yeah, right. Watch this bouncing ball because over here, we think of something else. So they knew exactly what they were going to do. They already had deals worked out. And I just really do hope it forced a percentage of them to still say, I have to do something else. And they're saying that this will never happen to me again because I don't like that scare. So that is really my prayer, is that mm-hmm. it forced those people that actually use that as their income, that it forced them to say, I've got to do something else. And they say, I will never, because if you've been hurt bad enough, those are some pains that you say, I will never feel this way again. So for some, I really hope it was a wake up call and now they're choosing to do different. But I love what's happening right now. Now, is it just a trend or is it going to be something that we can, lean into?
Yeah, no, I love what I see happening. So just to tie that up, definitely that, and we say this all the time. Both of us say that should not be your only strategy. Your social media strategy is not, I'm on TikTok, right? Especially if you are doing this as a business, and you should be. So the people, if you were just doing this for fun, you probably were not hurt. The people that were hurt are the ones that are doing this as a business. So are you running your Are you running it as a business? Are you running your content as a video business? If you're making money off of it, it's a business. So you should be running it like a business. And that includes making business decisions of how do we diversify? What do we do if? Some people had no plan, the what if plan. because you're running your business like a hobby, and it is not a hobby. The moment you start to make money off of this is something that could be a livelihood. And if you're serious about it, you have to turn it into a business. So I know many creators have, but if you haven't, I'm saying now, actually do it right and make it a business. And don't let your business strategy just be TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. For truth be told, you ought to be driving them to something you actually own. So use those other platforms, yes, but use them as a way to gather community to drive folks to something you actually own. Just saying. Thoughts on that before we carry on?
Yeah, you need to cover your assets. You need to cover and own. You need to own them. There's nothing like if you search, you search our history. We really do need to be owning what is truly and rightfully ours. Because they could really, as you saw, they could take it just like that. And if that was painful, really, again, it is my hope and my prayer that people are doing business different, that this year, with us being in a brand new year, you have made some decisions and made some more investment, and not just utilizing that to have fun, right? And do other things, but then saying, what am I going to do with some of the income that I wasn't used to getting? Acting like you're still living the same way, but then investing so that you will never be put in that position again. Because I get it. Exactly. As a business owner, I definitely get it. Yeah.
So, the thing is, your business strategy should not be tied up in one platform. Look for ways to drive them to something you own. So now what I want to do is you talked about what's going on. You're loving what's happening on TikTok. And so am I. So as soon as people started to come back, it felt like something was different, algorithmically, at least. The same dummies that I usually see on TikTok, for some reason I didn't see, which is fine with me because
they did a mix up. They did a mix up. I believe even that was to shut it down. It's like, yeah, you know how with different things, we get updates all the time on any of our devices.
Yeah.
And even though we know why they did it, or partially why they did it, this also was a chance for them to then add something new, which it kind of put everybody, or what I personally felt, it put us back in a big mix, right? Because I even experienced some algorithm things going on, right? I personally felt that where it was like, whoa, maybe more people were actually seeing some stuff that had already existed. Right. So I was like, okay, this was good. Let's push some stuff back out. But you're right. Let's hit where we going with this, because I got a few thoughts on that too.
Yeah. So, there was something specific that I was going to bring up, but was there something that you were going to bring up that you
it'll still lean into who we're talking about.
Lean into what we're talking about. Okay.
Let's lean in.
Let's lean in. Okay, so something that I noticed when I came back on. Now, first of all, I don't know what you all did, but I have TikTok. Well, I'm signed in, online to TikTok on my browser. And then I also have TikTok on another phone and on my iPad. But the main phone I use, I was like, no need for that. And I got rid of it. So consequently, I can't get it back on that phone, which is fine. I'm good. I'm good with where it is, but it's still not available for download in the App Store and the Google Play Store. So you cannot get it as of right now. But when I did come back, I noticed it was like, okay, in a sense, for me and my timeline, the way it was curated. I don't know if you remember during the pandemic, but I mean, you live in Georgia, so you all are landlocked except for, if you're on the coast, but you're inside. So I live in Florida, and if the wildlife like the dolphins and the manatees and all the marine wildlife didn't come back during the pandemic because people weren't there to mess with them, that's what it felt like. The dolphins were just out. I was like, it's beautiful. And that's because we weren't outside messing with them. They felt safe. So that's what it felt like when I came back on TikTok. I was like, I felt like the dolphins. I'm like, look at these nasty, yucky people aren't here anymore. But anyway, I saw something that caught my eye. So you all know that I am a professor. So I've been teaching media forever. So of course, something pops up called Hillmantok University, which I was like, now what is this? And I kept seeing Hillmantok. I'm like, okay, I'm a little confused. What is this? So I go to the main page or the main account for Hillmantok, and really it is an ode to Hillman College, which was featured on both the Cosby Show and Different World, right? But Different World was primarily the where we got to know Hillman. So for a lot of us, for people, for example, that did not go to HBCUs, their first experience with an HBCU was Hillman on television, and it felt good. And I think trying to capture that nostalgic feeling is what happened here. And so they have actually started, now don't get me to lying, I'll put at the bottom of the screen the names of the people responsible, but you can find them if you go to TikTok, or even if you do a search for Hillmantok.
Yeah, Dr. Barlow.
That's it. Thank you. So you'll be able to see now, there are a lot of people that are actual professors that are very knowledgeable, that are teaching actual courses for Hillmantok in financial readiness, in African American history and African American studies. You've got things like gardening. I even saw the other day Airbnb 101 for people who want to do Airbnb. It's amazing. And there are so many courses. In fact, they've come out with a spreadsheet of all the courses right now. They are in the spring semester, and summer semester will come up shortly. Well, there's been so much fanfare and so much demand for this. So currently they're not taking any more people to teach until the summer. And but if you want to take courses, all you have to do is just follow along with your favorite professor, and they have homework, they teach lessons. It's amazing. So for me, this is like, when we look at and having come out of the traditional university system, right, and teaching in the traditional university system, you see some gaps that need to be filled, and you see the failures. So I love that we are, and they're calling this an HBCU. So I love that they are taking the bull by the horns, is that it? Whatever. And saying, you know what? Let's start our own way of educating folks. And they did it on a platform that lots of people are on. But I kind of have a thing with this. Go ahead, Shawana. I'll talk about that after.
No, because since we're on the lighter side, I love that, one, for people, like you said, that want to know and have a feel for it, to even notice certain things right now, there is no cost. I like the engagement. It's easy to digest, and overarching for me is it was a way to meet people where a lot of them might have been. How about that? Because we know that when we think about the consumption of hours that people spend on TikTok, you might even be one of, because you can learn anything on TikTok, but to know that now there is something that is driven with education. And like you said, do your due diligence. If you're following an educator who is on there, I know several people who are actually on there, and they are current professors. And I think it's really a great way when you think about branding, when you think about media. How wonderful is that to then show something else? That's why no matter what we're doing, is seeing how many other streams that thing that we're doing or you're considering doing, what other avenues can that one thing take? This is evidence again of, if you're an instructor or an educator like Dr. Tachi, she's a professor, to be able to then take some of the same education, all of the skills and the knowledge to go on there to help those who may not could even afford to go to some of the colleges or even get in right now, to know that you can kind of peek in a class and see what that look and feel like. I think it's amazing. I really do hope it stay around for a long time. I really do. I hope it's just not a trend.
Right. I don't think so. I think a lot of people have put energy into it. There's so many that have put hopes, dreams, thoughts, prayers, all of that into this. So I think this is something that is going to be, if you ask me, this is the new wave of education. I love it.
But it speaks to media. It speaks to media. When you think about things that could really just fall by the wayside, this is another way to keep people engaged, because like with all platforms, they want you on their platform. And now to introduce a college, hello, That's going to keep you on the platform even more.
Even more. And the interesting thing is, like, everybody talks about when they want to know something, they're like, oh, go to YouTube University, right? You could look it up on YouTube. And that really has been the standard for training and new forms of knowledge, right? For education for a while. So now that this has happened, that adds to the fabric of education. I think it really is a game changer because education, higher ed, I'm talking about, has not, education in general, but I know higher ed has really not made any significant changes since the mid 19th century, right?
But I think about the beauty again, because of this, they're not held to certain rules. So that could be seen as a pro and a con, right? Mm-hmm. Because you really do need to check your fact, do your due diligence, right? For if it's someone that you're really considering to take their course, take their one-on-one, that is the one of the pro. When you think about pros and cons to anything, it's then saying the quality control. I know for some people that's a concern, the quality control, but in all things, no different than if you went to a traditional college, you got to do your due diligence.
No, well, actually, absolutely, because I'm going to say this. I know, because of being in the university system for so long, I've seen people, that are teaching courses. At one time, I was asked to teach something that I'm like, okay, I'm learning this now. Why would I teach other people that? So it happens all the time on the university level, where sometimes there are professors that, because they're trying to, make a new course and fill this, it's like, oh, well, you do this. Can you do this? No, that's not what I do. So I'm like, it happens there too. So due diligence needs to happen, whether it's a $100,000 per year university that you go to. Okay, that's a bit much. $50,000 per year university that you go to, or whether or not you're doing it for free on YouTube University. You have to do your due diligence to make sure that
you trust but verify.
Exactly. Now, again, with a traditional university, they are vetting, right? And they are, so everybody there, in order to teach, you have to have some sort of usually advanced degree, right? So there's that process there, and they do an awful lot of vetting to make sure they're getting people. But again, once you're in there, sometimes they're just trying to raise money for the department. Oh, let's offer this course. Oh, well, this person does it. Yeah, okay, but that's not really their specialty. So you can teach it, but is it your specialty? And one thing I never do, I don't teach the things that I don't specialize in. So even if I know it, if it's not my specialty, you won't find it from me. That's why, I always caution people against some of these media gurus and things that you see teaching things. I'm like, well, how do they know X, Y, Z? But I just leave it. But so going on to the next part of this, I love what Hillmantok is doing. And I'm sure they are looking at plans to do other things. But I think they quickly also need to not have it so TikTok centric. It needs to be on and again, I don't know, they probably are working on this, but it definitely needs to be someplace where that is away from an app that could go dark tomorrow, which they have already proven. Also, the name. So we talk about branding, and we saw this happen in the days of Periscope, in the days of Meerkat, in the early days of live streaming. Everybody was coming on Periscope saying, oh, I'm the Periscope queen, I'm the Periscope king, I am the, this is the Periscope cooking show. So they branded their stuff based off of the platform. Where's Periscope now? Where's Meerkat now? So I think it's a mistake to have that as part of the name, because it then makes it very platform specific. And also the name Hillman, I love it, but isn't there an intellectual property thing there? And again, I don't know. They probably have done quite a bit of work to see that, but sometimes, and I'm saying this as a professors, we're not trained in business. I just happen to have some business acumen because my mother has had good business acumen, right? But other than that, we're not trained in business. We're trained in teaching, research, scholarship, research, and service to the university, right? And the community. Nothing about that says become an entrepreneur. So I'm not saying they don't know, and hopefully they're working with some people that see the business end of it and all of that. But sometimes you're just so excited about, oh, I want to start, that you don't think about some of these things. So not knowing, because I'm not on the team, so I can't claim, but I'm hoping they cleared the use of Hillman, because it's a clear reference to the different world, right? And there's University on a Different World. And I would not, if it were me, I would not have put talk in there, because it is a clear connection to TikTok. Thoughts?
Well, hey, again, when you think about trends, they were jumping on, here's another way to educate. So that's why I say I like that right off the jump. Just another way to reach people where they are, right? Because they are on there. And if you're an educator, like I said, I do know a couple of people that are doing some of the classes on there, and I know they know their stuff. So to know that they are on there representing what they do. And right now, to my knowledge, I don't know that there is an actual fee. So I think that's maybe can be even how they're getting around some of what you just spoke of, because if they're not charging you, then you know what I mean? Like it's nothing where the people who do own the Hillman name and all of the assets that go with, the show and all of that, they don't have to worry about paying, because they're not making any money per se. But that's true. So that could be that safe gate, because saying no, nobody's over here getting paid.
That's true. But again, when it comes to intellectual property, if there's ever, again, if people are like,
they'll say take it down, they'll say pull it down.
Yeah, exactly. Because now I know that's like, I'm sure people want to give donations, so they're using that name, and it's not necessarily monetizing, but they are taking donations. So
I would just the prayer again, y'all know I be praying a lot, right? I be praying a lot for the people. The prayer is that before this was launched, that the lawyers might have been involved and just taking certain things under consideration. And it could be even saying, you know what, for however long we can ride this wave, let's ride this wave. It is my belief, though, I know for me as a business owner, I would be even thinking beyond TikTok. I would be thinking beyond that, because even if you're not charging for being on there or doing a service, but you are giving value, you cannot, I just don't believe that then you're still not collecting information, so that people that may want to know about you and what you do as a business owner, they're going to sort you out, so then they can reach you and offer other things beyond TikTok. So yeah, just do your due diligence. But I'm not mad at the trend, because in this case, at least it was something that we can celebrate in this moment. So it is definitely timely when so many other things that are going on. At least we have something educationally that can be going on to help you up level your skill, or we can definitely celebrate what is currently being done. So we do have to remember to celebrate in the middle and appreciate the small things that are happening now.
Exactly. And the small thing that's happening now is phenomenal. It is incredible. And shout out to the faculty, staff, founders, students at Hillmantok. I think it's amazing. And it's, they're calling it an HBCU, but there's so many, everybody is taking classes from them. It's not just Black students. So I think that's amazing. So keep it up. And I can't wait to engage more with Hillmantok. I love it. Just keep some of the things we said in mind, but we love it. And going back to the first thing that we were talking about, if you are, we can't tell you what to do, where to shop, what to buy, but make sure that when you are doing things, you realize that every action not only has an equal and opposite reaction, but affects other people. So think about things before you do that, before you shop, before you buy, and decide whether or not what you're buying or where you're shopping aligns with your values and with your vision and goals. If so, then that's up to you. But there are lots to do your due diligence. There are lots of lists. If you choose not to shop at those places, every single one of those vendors has a website, if I'm not mistaken, and you can buy from them directly if that's something that you so choose. Shawana, this was amazing.
It was, but I have to tell the listeners, the viewers,
yes,
that it's again with all of what we do, we still have to be mindful. We have to be strategic in whatever we spend, even right now, beyond hey, beyond the whole thing with the target and all of that, we have to be strategic in our spending and our investing. Because like no other time before, like I said, we have ancestors to prove that we can still rise above this, the cream rise to the top. And I believe we're dealing with some people who want to rise in this season. So do what you need to do, make the necessary adjustment. Let's remove some of the excuses. Remember to continue to collaborate with people, like-minded people, because we truly can go further together. And I'm excited to be a part of the conversation. And I hope it was something that was a part of this conversation and make us just think and see and feel a little bit different, to know that we do see you. We see you. We see you. We're excited about some of the things. We don't like some of the others, but we're here. We're here. We're here. So let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it. Let's do something about it. Do better. Be better. And if we start with ourselves, be more. And if we be more of ourselves, then it will reach who it needs to reach. And that's why you do have to be okay to be seen, being your best, giving your value, so that someone can say, if I have to collaborate, then they're the person, they're going to call you.
Absolutely. And I think the final lesson again is that not to put all your eggs in one basket. We talked about this, but whether it's a business basket or a content basket and a platform basket, do not put your entire livelihood in one entity. It doesn't make any sense. So if you haven't learned anything from either the debacle with all these DEI rollbacks and now people being stuck, or TikTok going away, if you haven't learned anything, at least learn, don't have your entire plan hinged on one store, platform, whatever it is. So, I mean, if that's a takeaway for today, if that's the only thing you take away, please take that away.
Own your assets.
Shawana, own your assets. Absolutely. Shawana, I just love you and adore you. And I know that the audience does too. Tell them how they can reach out to you if they want to work with Kennedy Media.
Well, thank you once again, Dr. Tachi. Thank you, viewers. This is always fun to be able to look iron sharpen iron and having a media conversation with another brilliant person such as Dr. Tachi. But again, I am Shawana Kennedy everywhere. Also, look, I am Shawana K. I am Shawana K. That's with 2 N's. And I can't wait to talk to you more, see you more. Do something today that your future self will thank you for.
And we've heard that from you before, so I hope you are doing that. Every time you hear her, I hope it is a reminder. And hopefully all of this today will help you to be more with your videos and live streams. Until next time, cheers, guys.
We always here for you. When you emotionally broke.